a little squirrely. I got Kingston coming here with you. Yeah, I gotta go talk to,
That is Officer Donald Frost. A real piece of work. We'll get to him soon. It's July, lunchtime on a weekday. I was serving as a delivery courier for one of the billion-dollar gig economy corporations. When I arrived at the assigned drop-off location, I discovered a bombshell. A national story about a public safety issue and a threat to this billion-dollar industry which millions of people in this country depend on. This is the short version of a very complicated, sophisticated, and ingenious scam. It's about a brand new type of tech crime, something we haven't seen before in this country, what the media would call a first-in-the-nation crime, for which Amazon, Uber, Grubhub, all these tech companies, and even the federal government would come knocking on their door for. I warned the public defender's office they'd have to sacrifice a kidney to get this body cam footage, that the police would not give it up without a fight, because this footage would make them all into the most hated cops in America for a hot minute. What I'm revealing with this video is a model that small pockets of dirty cops nationwide can follow to invisibly threaten the public and defraud the corporations that put their people in harm's way, whether negligently or not. The losses of this fraud will be hidden by the companies themselves. They'll write them up as write-offs. If this case is unique, and corrupt police nationwide have not started this model already, they will, after watching this video. This could have a catastrophic effect on the gig economy corporations as we know it today if they do not respond. These government criminal enterprises will increase, and worker participation will vaporize from the lack of public safety. You'll see here that, on this day, I was targeted, and I had my safety threatened. In part because when I arrived, I had acquired too much information about the crimes of some powerful people in this tiny little town. I'm being told that I'm putting my case at risk by talking about it publicly without an attorney, but it's unethical not to reach out about such a significant threat to the public and the simple basics we value, hoping that, in turn, we can have our faith rewarded by the millions who depend on these services and don't want them corrupted. I'm near the seacoast, number 2 South Road in East Kingston, New Hampshire, across the street from Monahan Farm. Just as I arrive at this house, I'm unloading goods from the trunk, and an older man in his late 70s walks up to me from the farm stand. He says to me, he represents the owner of the house, a wealthy and connected town citizen. This owner also owns Monahan Farm. They didn't order a delivery. The tech companies have been sending ridesharers and deliveries here by mistake for years because of a GPS glitch. The company had sent me to the wrong town. The real address is just down the street in Southampton. East Kingston is a very small town, and everyone there already knows about all this. Right off the bat, the old man is admitting to me that they've been receiving potentially tens of thousands of dollars in stolen merchandise at this address, and the whole town knows about it. They did not directly steal it, they've been receiving it, which is still a crime. I'm already dying to get out of here. He proceeds to behave strangely. He asks me questions, I answer them. His questions become increasingly invasive. He blocks me from reaching the door, hovering over my open window. When he runs out of questions, he repeats the same questions. His tone becomes sharper, louder, and increasingly threatening. I put my hands up and I'm trying to appease him, but he won't let himself be appeased. He already knows I'm there because of a misunderstanding, but he becomes angrier and angrier and talks about seeing evidence of a break-in. He's behaving like he's senile, and he might be armed. I finally tell him, look, you're the one who admitted you've been receiving stolen merchandise. This stops him right in his tracks. He's now confused and flustered, and it was at this very moment that a second man drives up with his son in a white pickup truck. This second man proceeds to treat me in precisely the same way the old man did. He's starting in the same place and hitting all the same beats. As they attacked me in tandem, it shocked me how heavily scripted all of this was. His son, a minor, is very quietly taunting me, giving me the throat slit gesture, and smiling while glaring and nodding, as if to say, "That's right, we got you now. This is our town." I look across the street and see no sign of any break-in there either. None of this makes any sense. Then it dawns on me. These men are not senile. These men are hustlers. This whole thing is a con. That it doesn't make sense is the whole point. For whatever reason, I'm being imprisoned and distracted here. It's a small part of a much bigger scam. Something I obviously want no part of. "Get out of here, or we'll call the police," said one of them. The old man backs away from the driver's door, and I throw everything back in the trunk. In concern, they stop taunting me, as I remind them there are legal violations here before I left. I drive to the Jalisco Mexican restaurant across the street. I shut off the car, exit, and lock it. I'm rattled, but I have to complete this delivery and I don't have an address. Suddenly, I hear a voice behind me. It's Officer Donald Frost. The period of time between when I was told to get out of here or we'll call the police and this very second was less than 45 seconds. I thought the police showed up suspiciously fast. He disingenuously says he was called for an unclear reason and asks me to wait inside the car, assuring me this is not a traffic stop. Then he changes his mind and says that it is, so we can turn this into musical chairs. He volunteers all the same scripted information the two hustlers did, even admitting that everyone in town knows about the stolen merchandise. He says I'm being accused of a theft, and he laughs, and he says he can't tell me what's been stolen when I ask him. Frost asks me to exit the vehicle. I ask why. He says he wants to search it. I say no thank you. I don't give consent to a search. He says the law doesn't give me a choice. I have to give him consent. I politely decline. He gives me an ultimatum: consent to a search or wait for a search warrant. I chose the warrant. We're waiting for the judge, and we find ourselves at the beginning of the video, where I finally understand what all of this is truly about. Here's the plot. This delivery address is the wrong address, and the local police were using it to run a criminal enterprise. This wasn't just a con or an ambush, but an illegal shakedown. A persistent GPS glitch is causing gig economy companies to send many delivery couriers and ridesharers to this wrong address in the wrong town. The local police had foreknowledge this was going on. Instead of fixing the glitch, they decided to exploit the glitch. They set up an ambush and detained these drivers indefinitely while using their government psychological techniques to trick and intimidate the couriers into giving consent to being searched. The two hustlers from across the street were serving as undeclared police informants, not passive concerned citizens. They surveil the house from over there and call the police immediately when a new courier arrives, then cross over and detain them illegally with chaos, misdirection, and threats. Then they later frame the drivers by accusing them of a crime that didn't happen to give the police false probable cause to force themselves on the driver and search them. This town is so small and remote that these people are all practically cousins, and they are all complicit in illegally targeting the essential workers of billion-dollar corporations with armies of lawyers by exploiting the flaws and the weaknesses in their corporate business model. It appears this scam has been going on for years, and that it was so sophisticated that all the good reporters, lawyers, and law enforcement statewide didn't catch on until East Kingston came after me. Think Bernie Madoff. People in positions of power don't wait for opportunity. They abuse their power to create their own opportunity. I'm now being detained by dirty cops in service of a criminal enterprise they are running. Just this fact alone gives me the right to use my rights to resist. But I have to risk my life walking a tightrope between a rock and a hard place. You will see, they used an ambush to put me in a position where if I comply with them, then these criminals could use this frame-up to keep framing me, and I could lose my freedom for years. But if I lawfully stand on my rights and resist, I could lose my life. After this day, despite having no case, I was prosecuted twice for this frame-up, and neither case went to trial. Why? To intimidate me and ruin my life because I knew too much about them. To hurt my credibility and propagate a cover-up. To avoid national scrutiny of their criminal enterprise. This is how whistleblowers are treated, and I have a mind that if I don't go public with what I know, then this isn't going to stop.
You didn't see him making any further moves in it.
Really? You'll get a better understanding of what he means later.
So I'm looking for a big brown.
Big brown bag, alright.
Interesting, because he won't tell me what he's looking for. Police have to be very specific about what they're looking for in a search warrant and prosecute you if they find it. But dirty cops will force you to give consent. He can also use consent to plant illegal material and make it stick. The definitive way to convey that I didn't give this dirty cop consent to search me is for him to remove me from the vehicle. I'm being framed for theft by these people, and he's trying to make me an accomplice in my own framing, which is real training in some places. In 2014, Donald Frost was fired for a Brady violation, which means he likes to manipulate, withhold, or plant evidence. Nobody really knows what happened because the media didn't seem to cover it, and the state of New Hampshire seems to have redacted it. This can be pretty common in New Hampshire, firing and rehiring police repeatedly until they get charged and go to jail.
Okay, alright, so do you mind if we just take a quick peek at your car to see if you have those in there? Okay, right. And I understand
should be all set.
that, but, they're also saying that they have pretty substantial evidence that, you were approaching the car, so...
He talks like this throughout. Any proof is based on vagaries from others. There's nothing in the police report or witness statements about this, quote, pretty substantial evidence.
Well, so you don't want to give us permission to search the car? So we're probably going to seize it for the search warrant.
This heavily implies that he can't do anything to me without the search warrant. At one point, he even brags to me how quick and easy it is to get a warrant. It just downloads straight to his phone with their proprietary software. And if he's ready to do that quick and easy search right now, with my consent to search, then why on earth does he need to seize the vehicle with the search warrant just because I refuse to give him permission? There are many police officers who are trained to get you to step out of the car willingly, then force the door open and help themselves to a warrantless search, then later claim you gave them consent. He is coercively bullying me to exit and threatening me with arrest to fake my compliance to a search without the warrant. All this is illegal.
So who are you talking to right now?
I said before how he depends on vagaries. Frost will repeat that his informants are giving him probable cause and acts like that's some piddling gray area he can use to wield force. But New Hampshire issues a special warrant just for probable cause. There is no gray area or excuses not to wait patiently for it. Instead, he gives me lip service about my rights while evading those rights.
So you talking to the attorney regarding this incident?
Rocker checking East Kingston 182, Kingston 363, and South Hampton.
Still at rock.
Much of the sound has been, I'll use the word corrupted. We're having it restored, and with your support, we can have it done even faster. I'm positive many of you will find Frost's provocative evasion and coercion techniques exonerating to your own unique, but similar personal experiences.
182, right? Kingston 182.
This car is in
good standing, correct? Suspended registrations or anything like that?
And the vehicle I show is fine. It's active, non-renewable registration.
Yeah, the vehicle's registered. This is the very first search police do, and by the way the radio officer says, the vehicle I show, you get the impression Frost has already belabored this point with him, as he's reaching for excuses to hold me he doesn't have. Through all of this, Frost is provoking and enraging me. I have a mind to tell him everything I know about the entire plot. Let him know I know they're all criminals, and I'm going to get the proof, and I'm going to take them all down, because that's what's going to scare Frost into leaving me alone. Forget that we're in the middle of nowhere, with no cameras, and they can very easily kill me to avoid jail time. It's irrational, but anything to take my mind off the fact that by Frost forcing himself on me and ignoring the rights I'm entitled to, he's making me want to break his jaw. But like I said before, powerful people don't wait for opportunity. They create it. If he's on to me, being on to him, getting me to take a swing at him might be the whole point.
Alright, so here's where we stand here. So we can either give us consent to search a car, or we can apply for the search.
Then insult the judge's intelligence and apply for the warrant already. I don't see what the problem is. This is the same ultimatum. Again.
Well, that's why we're going to go ahead and get you to do a search warrant, so, because you're right, because you do have rights. Okay, alright, so why don't you just step on out for me? Yeah. No. So grab your phones and just step out of the vehicle. No, that's not really how this works. So here's the thing, okay? You can grab your phone, okay? You can get out of the car, we can figure out some way to bring you, okay? Or I can just place you under arrest right now.
Arrest? You see how thirsty Frost is? I'm thinking he really wants my consent to search before the judge responds to the search warrant. But in a minute you'll see he's bluffing. For now.
Well, yeah,
You can clear me for 363.
so I'm trying to do this without taking you into custody right now. We can put you somewhere.
Oh.
You're already detained.
Oh.
Yeah, there is, because I can't stand here all day while we're going back. No, I'm not choosing to stand here. I'm asking you to step out so that I can seize your car and get this process rolling.
Remember, I have already taken his option to wait for a warrant. What I've been doing this entire duration is peacefully declining to exit and remaining as I'm waiting for the search warrant to come back, yay or nay.
We bring that to court. So we're not the judge and the jury in the whole situation. We're just the middleman.
You'll see how comfortable he is later defrauding the company.
Yeah. Yeah, well, next person. What Donnie say? What Donnie say?
I once had an attorney tell me, you should never say that the police almost got you killed, because they hear it all the time and only the bad guys say that. It never occurs to the attorneys that lots of people say that because it may be a part of police coercion training in some places. The police also might be smart enough to only target people perceived to be too poor and undereducated to have their stories believed. But from now until the end of the world, when we say that the police almost got me killed, this is what we mean. Being exasperated, provoked, and enraged by predators, being targeted, spoken to, and barked at with duplicitous conviction. Officers holding you indefinitely, applying pressure, and trying to make you lose your self-control. Having your peace of mind toyed with by people who drag you into a perverse game. A game designed to turn your life into a joke. Their joke. He knows he can manipulate the narrative such that if I did take a swing at him, then that becomes all that matters, not the fact that he had no right to bother me like this in the first place. And if these men get the idea that I'm onto their scam, they could abuse their power to create their own opportunity to just gun me down, to avoid jail time for all this.
What's
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how about you, Andy?
Good. Jake, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So, this may have been inadvertently my fault. We're from out of town, and we're staying at 2 South Road, Southampton.
Yep.
That's the exact same.
O'Connell just snaps into Jacob's sentence with a resounding affirmative, like he knew what he was going to say before Jacob finished his sentence. He should, and for a few reasons, especially since he already knows he's responded to a call at number 2 South Road in East Kingston. It's like he's fully aware of what's going on. This will, ironically, make a lot less sense in a minute, as we've entered the beginning of a really bizarre conversation.
You said you left somebody at your, like your dogs are barking at somebody, or?
No, we don't know if the dog, because we live in New York,
Yeah.
we don't know if the dogs are going to run out. So we're like, hey, just leave it at our door and we'll just come bring it in. And yeah, so I guess he tried to leave it here or something. And
I think we're talking about two separate things.
okay.
But let me take your name and number down now.
Yeah.
So, then we're going to talk to the officer over there as well. Sounds like same address, two different things. So what's your name, sir?
Jacob.
Pay attention to Jacob's reaction to O'Connell's questions and comments. He's in disbelief at how clueless he is and doesn't consider that this might be an act. Picture yourself getting politely frustrated with an armed authority figure that won't understand a simple story. Then ask yourself if you look just like Jacob here.
02. Alright, but we're going to talk with the guy over there.
Yeah.
So you said nothing was stolen from your house, or something was stolen from your house, or?
No, nothing
yeah.
at all. Yeah.
O'Connell thinks Jacob might be there complaining that nothing was stolen from his house.
We're going to talk with that guy.
Yeah.
Because
He said he was trying to drop the groceries, and now people are accusing him of trying to break into the house.
no, we have nothing to do with the house. But
Okay.
How would O'Connell know this one way or another? Nobody has told him anything, and he behaves like he knows nothing.
If it'll help.
yeah, let's take a picture of that. If you just drive by and see us all here and think something might be going on, or?
No, so I used Apple Maps, and I thought, okay, same street address, same zip code, just the town name may have changed.
Yeah, Southampton. That happens a lot with Southampton, East Kingston, especially on South Road, because Southampton uses East Kingston's zip code.
Okay, the plot officially thickens. Now he's saying he's well aware of massive widespread address failures all over East Kingston and Southampton, identical to the one that's caused this incident here. So the question is, how many corporate gig economy couriers and ridesharers have been unlawfully ambushed, searched, framed, and charged by the police with this scam? In how many locations on this shared zip code?
I believe this is two separate things we're talking about here.
Okay.
Yet he still communicates like he doesn't understand Jacob's plain English.
Because he told me that I had apparently doing the wrong address. Now people are converging and calling the cops on him. And, I was standing out front because I thought, maybe you're just on the wrong side of the road. And I saw that pickup go by. And I was just like, huh, I bet I fucked up somehow.
Yeah. Let's see. He's still talking to those people.
Yeah.
So you live in both Southampton and New York? It's good. Yeah.
No, we're just doing an Airbnb.
It's a shame. You saw Jacob really trying to help me out by trying to clarify right here. But O'Connell just partly turns and walks away, then changes the subject to ask a dumb question.
Smaller, not much going on, but...
Not a whole lot going on, but yeah, it's just, there's a nice big fenced-in backyard.
It's big, it's
And,
huge.
it was for Airbnb, relatively affordable, so we're like, all right, let's go do that.
How long you been in town?
We got in last night.
Oh, sorry. I'm just gonna text him. So yeah, well, it's a good 24 hours for you so far.
Yeah.
Let's see. Over. My name's Andy. I'm on Southampton Police, though.
Hey.
So hopefully next time we see each other, maybe more. Just passing by saying hi.
Right.
Was it you, your wife, any kids or anything, dogs, or? You said you have the dogs. But
Yeah, just the two dogs,
Yeah.
no kids yet. I mean, it's just hard to have kids in Manhattan. So
Yeah,
we're
I bet. But it's easier to have dogs, though?
Yeah.
My dogs are, I guess, yeah. I have a dog, too, so I get it. It's a little easier.
Yeah, and the dogs are cheaper than kids.
Yeah, I have a dog, too. I have a German Shepherd, so I get it.
Oh, very
Yeah.
nice.
How about you? What dogs do you have?
They're both just mutts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Looks like he's going to be coming over here in a second.
If you've ever left the country, you'll know that one of the reasons why we have such a stable society here is because there really is so much great law enforcement here. This story is just about a couple of bad ones. And although this is not an isolated incident, there is a lot that can be done in place of throwing out the baby with the bathwater. But if you do know any police officers, let them know you don't think this is cool, and that our ridesharers and our delivery couriers should be left alone.
Don't do a full grocery shop in there. It's a little expensive for like a mom and pop shop, but they got good stuff.
Nice.
It's a little county store. Sorry it's taking you so long here, but
That's okay.
yeah, South Road especially. It happens a lot, East Kingston and Southampton, the addresses being the same.
Here he more so sounds like he understood the misunderstanding the whole time. The misunderstanding that he officially claims to not understand.
East Street, and it looks the exact same on the maps here. I'm like, all
I'm
right.
trying to think which one's two. Is it near, what's the closest street to it? I know it's Main Ave's the intersection there.
Oh shoot, I don't even know.
Yeah.
We're driving and it's pretty pitch black.
Because I bet your house is right on the border.
Yeah, so this is right where we are,
Yeah.
and we're like
Newfields
Main,
44
east, and
Rocky.
south, and north.
Oh, yeah, so yeah, I think you.
Newfields 4243. Can you show me on the area of Shaw's parking lot on Lafayette Road reference a report of a subject drinking in a vehicle?
But I believe, like I
544.
said, these are two different events.
Now he's back to making no sense at all, because he's really just performing for the camera. If Frost is the arresting officer and apt to take all the blame, if this goes south, then O'Connell is free to use the camera to try to make it look like he knows nothing about a scam he's a part of.
Yeah, we're going to check that out, and then...
It's big nightlife there. Usually, younger crowd maybe. It depends on which bar you go to.
And we're also going to check out...
A police officer once told me that the longer detainments like these last, the least likely they end up in the officer's favor. If O'Connell agrees with this statistic, then you have to consider that he sees the writing on the wall, and he's using the camera to grab his parachute and bail.
Or Concord.
It's gotten... Manchester has a lot of hype, but I'm like, that would just draw a lot of people to it. And
Now here's a real treat. What you're about to see is Frost use a very effective persuasion strategy, something I personally call paging. It's a technique designed to convince people to willingly do anything for you, even if it's senseless or destructive.
How you doing?
Yeah.
hey, how's it going?
Good.
Jake, nice to meet you.
Hi, Johnny Frost. Pleasure to meet you.
Step 1. The authority figure becomes friendly with the mark and builds trust.
We're at the same street, same zip code, but in Southampton.
Right.
So we had 2 dogs in the backyard. We're from New York, so...
Step 2. The authority figure completely conveys all the relevant facts, making sure everyone's on the same page. There could be no ambiguity or misunderstandings.
Yeah, no, I wasn't breaking into a house. We think he broke into a car.
Oh.
So, but he's not allowing us to search his vehicle.
Okay.
So the problem is, you would have to do a search warrant on the vehicle. Everything that's in it, you would have to see.
Okay.
By the way, I told you Frost was bluffing. For now.
Just let them know what happened. They can call us.
Rocky Mountain, Kingston base.
Okay.
They should be able to.
Can you please start arresting people?
Step 3. The authority figure states his desired command insistently, but making sure it is at least implied to the mark that he will face no consequences for following orders. To me, paging tracks back to the famous Stanley Milgram experiments. Dr. Milgram sought to explain why the atrocities of World War II and the Holocaust happened. Why did so many just follow orders instead of thinking for themselves? Well, he found that people will just do that. If an authority figure is insistent and takes responsibility for any consequences, then he can make anyone do almost anything, even if it's inappropriate. Paging is a soft and passive form of intimidation that works incredibly well for the armed authority figure, especially on camera. Thank you, Dr. Milgram, for your very unethical experiments. So I'm being accused of going on crime sprees while a corporate entity logs my activity and records my movements. All this here is a profound development that a witness comes out to confirm a corporate transaction between him and a suspect that exonerates the suspect. Consider that's why O'Connell goes out of his way to make himself look almost intoxicatingly incompetent, to keep this whole charade going when it's gone sideways, and why Frost completely left this, the entire Jacob twist, out of his police report. Now you wonder what Hein means. By the way, again, paging.
So technically, if you tell him to get out of the car, he's get out of the car. And tries to force. You know what I mean?
This is one of the most definitive parts of the video. What's Frost doing on his phone? What is Hein responding affirmatively to? Frost is looking up the New Hampshire general laws, and he's twisting the law and the English language into a pretzel to say that me using my sovereign right to resist his will and wait for a search warrant is a use of force against him. According to Frost's own interpretation here, his obstruction charge only works if I made use of force against him. I didn't use any force against him. To peacefully wait for a search warrant is legal, and he's interpreting this, my peaceful resistance, as force. This part of the video probably comes closest to best revealing Donald Frost's corrupt state of mind. Police use these laws, the same group of laws, every day. It's like he's in virgin territory. He's never had someone use a warrant to resist him. But now he's come to his wit's end. He has treated me the entire time like he's certain I've committed a crime, and I'm committing more by invoking what the law entitles me for my protection. If he were to represent all of New Hampshire law enforcement, you'd assume that all the police are trained and highly dependent on this racket where they convince the public that their rights don't exist, and you'll be arrested if you pretend they do. Sorry, if this happened to you, you'd run in circles too.
Can you step out of the vehicle so we can settle this issue?
Interesting how he phrased that. You can ... settle this issue by seizing the car, or ... settle this issue by searching the car if I step out willingly. Phrasing like that keeps your options open on camera. Doors open. He can grab me anytime. He's still holding out hope he can fake my consent.
Ma'am, could you repeat that
Roger,
last
I'm
part?
sorry, I'm 747.
Rewind if you have to and look closely. You see how I didn't resist? I'm resisting his use of intimidation and coercion without a warrant, not his use of force.
Yeah, luckily you advised me to drop.
Did you catch Lindsay pointing at my Bluetooth, going from passive to willing accomplice?
Get out of the car at 108, 101 and started walking.
Oh yeah. Frost leaves and comes back the first time. First thing he does is make a comment about furtive movements. Now that he's admitted that he's detaining me illegally, what are we to assume about what he really meant by that? Another very, very important point is that the police and the lawyers of New Hampshire will all routinely claim that there is a law, a magic bullet in New Hampshire law that gives the police the right to force you out of any vehicle for no reason at all, and makes it illegal for you to refuse. Probably some derivative of Pennsylvania versus Mims. If this law really exists, then why isn't Frost using it? It could just be another way of using consensus to hypnotize the public with lies, getting you to give up your rights by lying to you to make you think you don't have any. When all this was said and done, it was confirmed that the two, quote, witnesses were liars and thieves and worthy of charges. Simple subpoenas to the tech companies would confirm a statistically significant number of canceled rideshares and delivery orders later reported stolen at this address. But the state of New Hampshire has declined to subpoena the corporations. These men have not been charged with anything. The state hasn't even asked me to come in and positively identify those two for threatening me. It's almost like they don't want to know if my story is true or not, because this scam is not a lawful basis to prosecute anybody, and they probably did this to a lot of other people who were sent there innocently at the behest of big money corporations. Along with Jacob, you might have noticed the new guy, Lindsay. Funny thing about Lindsay, when you grow up in the Boston area, and what I mean is from Portland to Manchester Concord, to Springfield, to Hartford, to Providence, one thing you notice is you never see sheriff's deputies respond to these typical patrol calls. Town police, neighboring towns, maybe state police, but never the sheriff's department. Transport, corrections, they have different duties. So I'm thinking, what's this guy doing here? Now, the fact that it says Sheriff's Department's drug unit on his vest might be the clue that deciphers this whole charade, explaining why Frost is so bent on searching me before the search warrant comes back from the judge.
I was getting fucking nervous when I went on the phone with the lawyer.
Looks like he wasn't nervous enough. If he was really doing his job, then why would he be so nervous?
You with it?
What are they saying to him?
Yeah. Purses, smashed windows.
Oh, really?
Smashed windows and took purses. They're like, yeah, we're about 99.9% sure it's him.
They found nothing because it wasn't me. That's why they weren't 100% sure. If those witnesses, who were really his lying informants, were giving him honest-to-God probable cause, then he wouldn't be illegally twisting the laws on camera here to make his case work. To the identities of the two informants, the closest I can gather is that one of them might be a man named Jeff Walker, who might be in fact the owner of Monahan Farm. He just lied about who he was to me, so he could commit crimes against me without being identified. The truth is that Officer Brady violation, Frost, has been caught lying and evading so overwhelmingly in his statements that it's hard to tell if these witness statements are even real people. At the police station, Frost admits that the search warrant he offered me, the one I've been waiting for, well, he never petitioned for it in the first place. You can make up your own mind as to whether this is him performing an illegal search, planting, or deleting recorded files on my phone. By the way, he's been promoted since then. 2 months later, I finished the first draft of a complaint and filed it 48 hours before the arraignment. I show up to the arraignment at Rockingham Superior Court, and all hell breaks loose. An officer appears and, in paraphrase, this is what he tells me. Hello, my name is LePage. I'm the superior of the officers that arrested you. I also serve as the town's prosecutor. And don't you worry, this is considered a suspicious conflict of interest almost everywhere but New Hampshire. Just after you left the police station 2 months ago, 2 older men came to the station and filed statements saying they saw you break into vehicles and steal things. We used these statements to get a search warrant, and I supervised as Frost searched and found nothing, exonerating you as a thief, which is consistent with the fact that you don't have a record and have never been in trouble in your life. This was embarrassing for us, so I continued to supervise as Frost continued to search, desperately, for anything we could use against you, for which the judge gave us no warrant for. Officer Brady violations searched through your grocery delivery and says he found a suspicious vegetable. When the lab did a search, they found it was illegal drugs. Now you have 3 charges: obstruction, drugs, and trafficking. But we've decided not to prosecute you. I had many questions for LePage, like, where is the statute that says you can search and prosecute for anything not in the search warrant? But he started to behave like he had said more than he should have and started to panic as he efforted to run away from me. He will not let me get a word in edgewise, as he's holding my discovery documents and illegally refusing to let me have them. Aware of the security cameras in the lobby, I point to the files. This spooks him as he runs. Weeks later, he announces online he was stepping down. Many months later, when I did finally get my discovery, those 2 lying statements LePage talked about, the very basis for the search warrant, were not there in the email. Illegally withholding my documents was a ploy to prevent me from hiring a lawyer, and without a lawyer I couldn't safely return back there to retrieve the vehicle. I was soon about to drive across the country, and all of my family's money and most irreplaceable personal items were in the vehicle. Withholding the vehicle prevented me from going to the press with this story. The vehicle, our property, was all lost. I never saw it again. We struggled horribly because of what was taken from us, and the domino effect this has had on my family is catastrophic. I repeat, what we have here is a model that dirty cops can use to seamlessly and invisibly ambush these workers, frame them, and defraud the corporations that sent them. And if there are not small pockets of dirty cops nationwide already doing this, then this video, this effort here to blow the whistle on these disturbing tactics, will create them if the corporations do nothing to show the necessary strength to protect their essential workers and their interests. The next person that allows himself to be demeaned and threatened for the crime of standing up for their rights may not be lucky enough to keep their life, as I was. And again, at last, I repeat that this is the short version of a very complicated, sophisticated, and ingenious scam. There are those who say that it's not the crime, it's the cover-up. And with that, I assure you that all this is just the tip of the iceberg with more to come. Thanks a bunch for watching our inaugural video. We hope your intellect was stimulated. If you feel you received an education, support our crowdfund campaign, like and subscribe. And with your support, our education will continue.